Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show. The Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts is proudly sponsored by the Global Wellness HQ community. It's an online membership group where we meet, we share ideas, we share insights, and we all work together and help one another discover our own personal wellness journeys. If you'd like to join us, you can easily click the link below or scan the QR code, and we love hearing your stories. So we hope to see you in the community. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, I have my new friend, Haim. Haim, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I love to talk about it. First of all, thank you, Jeff, for having me on your show. It's kind of honor to be here. And when people ask me about me, uh, there is some confusion sometimes. Do you want to know who I am or do you want to know what I do? It's two questions. So when you ask, introduce yourself, I mean, so I split it into two. Who I am, I'm honest, I'm loyal, I'm compassionate, I'm caring, I have high integrity. This is who I am. What I do, yeah, I help people get what they want from life. And I do it in a way that I make you think. I don't tell you what to do, or I'm not going to tell you how to do it. There is a life full of principle. When you follow the principle, you can get what you're looking for. It's easy, it's more clear. Yeah, and you depend on yourself. You don't depend on anybody else.
I love that. And I'm going to put words into this, but I kind of see you as a life guide. People come to you for advice and then you help them find the path they need to be on. Is that fair or
More
too
than fair.
simple?
More than fair. Which is, look, there is one thing, there is three things that stay in people way to success, which is, this is your belief, that is your habit that's come from your belief, and lack of imagination. Now think about that. Everything in the universe, it's a principle. Everything in the universe created twice. The first time in your mind, the second time in the physical reality, which is when people have ideal. Now, if you have ideal, what the next step is to write it down, put it on paper. When you put what you think on paper, now you create contracts between you and the universe. If you go toward the universe is going to come toward you, which is when you're going to take action, you're going to get result. Now you know how good you are or how much you need to improve. It's not complicated. Now, here is, if I go to the next principle, which is if you want to have something that you didn't have before, you need to do something that you didn't do before. Here's the magic. When you do something that you didn't do before, you will never fail. It's impossible to make mistake and nothing will go wrong because you do something that you don't know. How you can fail? How you can make mistake? You can't. It's impossible. What will happen is two things. You will get result. That will give you experience. Now the question is totally different, which is how would that make you feel? If it's make you feel good, great. Here's another principle. Everything in life is time and activity. So if it's that make you feel good, you put more time on this activity. If it's not make you feel good, it's even better because from the day we born until the day we died, we're learning. So now you have something to learn because something that resists you is because we don't know it. So we need to learn. Now we have the tendency in we grow up to stay away from all kind of danger and stuff that we don't know and to go with safety and convenience. So we're going back to safety ground. When you go back to safety ground, you're not going forward. You're not going to achieve anything. So that's the principle that everybody can use, and it's not complicated. It's just different way of life. Now you depend on yourself. You don't need to hear it from someone else, and you don't get advice from people. You get opinion. Let's put it more incorrect.
Some opinions stronger than others. Now, first of all, I want to thank you because I think for my listeners, they're used to me bringing on people who have, accomplished things and who have some amazing insights. And I think it is fascinating. And the reason I invited you to come back here was just that simplicity of the time and activity. I think a lot of people struggle with where they spend their time and quite frankly what activities they choose to do. I think it's such a simple conversation, yet I'm going to guess that a few of my listeners will want to push back and say, yeah, but it's more complicated, there's this, there's that. um, I feel like, when I'm managing a team, I focus on where they spend their time, what activities they're doing. um, why wouldn't we apply this same very simple yet powerful logic to our own lives?
There is that concept on time management, and there is all kind of courses. And for me, it's illusion, which is mean what we need to learn on time is how to use the time and how to work with the time. What we need to control is activity. So you said to yourself, I want to be in this activity. For instance, let's say you want to go to the gym. That's the activity that you want to have in your life. Now you give the time. How much time you want to be in the gym? Half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, every day, every other day, every week, every other week. Now you play with the time. And think about it. Let's say that we agree that 1 hour I go to the gym every day. Now you have another 23 hours. What kind of activity you want to use with the time that you have? So now I flip it upside down. The people have many activity, but they didn't determine how much time they're gonna use to do it. Now there is a different formula. And think about it, when you create habit, is activity over time. That's habit.
Yeah.
When you do it when you do it few times, so you start to think about that and you start to do it, which is when you shrink the time. Now you have more time that left over to do something different because you don't need to think about what you're going to do.
Yeah. And I think habit is one of my favorite concepts because I see a lot of people, they'll go to they'll go to a seminar over the weekend and they'll learn some amazing new thing, and they do it once at the seminar and then they go, wow, that was amazing. They come back and tell their friends and family, and then the next day, the shiny object syndrome sets in and they're like, okay, what am I going to do this weekend? And it's like, but you didn't habitualize, and I hope I'm not making up a word, it feels like a word. But if you don't make a habit of the things you're learning, you're effectively wasting time learning new things when you haven't taken advantage and absorbed the lessons in the things you're already doing.
Wasting time is wasting effort because the time going to pass anyway. And now the effort, it's it's kind of dissipate over time. Because when you have good idea, yeah, the the best use of that is to take action right away. Take action right away and see what the kind of result that you get and how does that make you feel. As I mentioned, if you feel good about that, put more time on this activity. Yeah. But that's the only way you can find out if it's you like it or you don't. I give you example. I used to go to one of the chambers meeting here in New York where I live, and I met this young girl. She graduated from college, and she find a job to start to pay her debt. So she started to work in a company that sell cleaning for commercial, which is when she go to business owner, they see if they need cleaning
Yeah.
after hour. They the company send the crew and they clean. And then I ask her, do you like what you do? Are you going to be retired from that? She said, oh no, I just graduated from college. I have some ideal in my mind that I'm going to develop and I'm going to do it the rest of my life. I said, oh, good, very good. Well, what is that your ideal, if you don't mind to share with me? And she said, no, I'm not going to share it with you because I'm still in the process of building that. I said, okay. Now I'm going to ask you the next question, which is how much time you spend every day on your ideal. And she said, right now, I don't spend any time on that because it's not ready.
Yeah.
I said, well, I want to tell you something that disappoints you, but you will never have that. You will never get that. And she said, why you say that? That's not nice thing to say. I said, it's not about nice because you need to have experience on that, which is mean what you need to do is at least 5 minutes a day, yeah, to take action on that, to see how does that feel to you.
Yeah.
You may think about something that you don't like, but you don't know because you don't have experience. You don't know how does that feel. It's just when you stay in the mind, it's not going anywhere. But you don't have contact with the universe to do it. Yet when you start to do it, now you get the impression, how is that going to? Now think about that. When you spend 5 time and you like the activity, you start to develop that, which is mean every day you put more and more time.
Yeah.
When the time comes to transition, it's smooth because you know what you're doing. You just move from one dimension to the next dimension, but you know what you're doing. But you're not gonna. It's not gonna happen to move from one dimension to another overnight. It's rarely happen.
Well, it's. I'm going to come back to that contract. I love the idea, and it's fascinating to me. I study success, and there's a lot of theories about why people succeed and why people don't. And one of the theories is the power of the written goal. And I'm going to be honest, I love when you say it's a contract with yourself and with the universe. I think that's what so many people miss is, I once upon a time read a book. I won't name it because I don't want the fans to come after me. But basically, the book said, you sit on the couch, you wish for something, and if you wish hard enough, the universe will bring it to you. But I would say that first of all, you need to write it out. You need to have that contract. But then the other piece is you need to spend time, as you said, you need the time because if you're just sitting on the couch trying to visualize I want a new car, I want a new car, um, the universe is going to say, well, what have you done to get that car? And I like the idea that there's the 2 points of creation. One is in your mind, and then the other is in where you're the next principle with your time and activity.
I guess you talk about the law of attraction.
Specifically, I'm talking about the movie The Secret.
Yeah. Here
Loved
is
the
the thing.
concept, but there was a piece missing, I believe.
Yes, the piece of missing that we need the attraction in one word. The attraction is two words. It's attract action.
Hmm.
It's not attraction.
I love that actually.
When you attract action, now you make something happen.
Yeah.
If
So
you if you don't attract action, which is when you're sitting on a couch, you're gonna fall to sleep.
I love that because that was the aha moment. I watched it and I went, okay, that's nice. I don't have time to sit on the couch. I'm going to get what I want. Interesting. And I don't know if you've given it thought. It's really interesting that the word attraction actually includes the word action. So I think that's a good indication because I met some people who loved The Secret. They read the book, they watched the movie, and I'm not kidding. One of them, she was a young, smart individual. She dropped everything. She quit her job so she could just literally, she took it so literally. She quit her job so that she could sit on her couch and dream about the fortune and the wealth she wanted to manifest. And I was like, how do you think that wealth is going to find you if you're hiding at home on your couch? And not surprisingly, a month later, she was really hungry. She'd burned through her life savings and she had to go out and get a job. Um, and she didn't see the connection, but she found the job that she was really passionate about. She started to meet the people she needed to meet. She became more successful. Like you said, time and activity. She started being more conscious of what she was doing. And then a couple of years later, she was successful. And she said, see, it was because I spent that month at home on my couch. I was like, sure, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to
Don't even
argue it
try.
was, yeah, just some people I just can't, I will not put my time into that. It's not an activity I enjoy, so I'm going to do less of those. But I love the fact that it's just really simple. I like to talk about the guiding star, the North Star. Um, does this bring me joy? Yes, do more of it. Obviously, assuming it's legal and doesn't harm others. Um, but I'm fascinated by people who grind away at jobs that they hate, and then they look back on life and say, "Why wasn't I more successful?" I have a feeling you have a theory there.
Think about it. Successful is not what you get, is what you become. Because there is transition there. To be successful and to have something, there is transition. You work on your self-image to own that what you're looking for. If you're not working on your self-image, nothing happened. Which is mean I give you example from a totally different area, but you will understand that. If you have Windows 7, you can play the Windows 11.
Yeah.
You need to change the diskette. You need to change the program. So you become Windows 11. If you don't make that switch, that change, you will stay Windows 7. You're not going to move from there.
Yeah. And
So that's the area that people missing is the imagination part, because the imagination play a big role on who you want to become.
yeah.
Because if you don't see it in your head, you're not going to see it in your head.
Now let's talk about imagination, because I think I meet people who shrug and say, "Oh, I don't have any imagination." What would you say to somebody, first of all, who says that? Um, but then the next question is imagination something that people can develop?
Yes. Until the age of 5, our imagination are in full capacity. From the age of 6, we start to shrink the time that we imagine, which is mean when we go to school, they start to suspend our imagination because they ask us to pay attention. Over time, we just forgot about the imagination. People people say, if when I see it, I believe that. If I don't see it, it's not exist. But the world is worked differently. You need to believe that you're going to see it. When you believe that you're going to see it, which is mean you use your imagination. Now, to restart to use imagination, there is few exercise that you can do with yourself every day, which is mean, Jeff, you have a refrigerator at home.
Yes.
You know where is the location of the refrigerator?
Absolutely. A little, I'm
Now,
cheating. I can see it right from my desk, but yes.
now let's see that you open the door in your imagination. You know what's inside.
More or less, yes.
You go, your imagination work. You sit here and you open the door and you already know what's in there, which is when you let your imagination to travel. Yeah. And
Yeah.
now that's exercise that you do every day, which is mean you have a wife. You know where she is right now.
Yes.
Yeah. You are more or less you know what she's doing at her work.
Yep.
That's your imagination.
Ah.
You have kid. The kid go to school. You know how they're sitting in a class more or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your imagination is working. You need to use it more and more. Now, when you use it more and more, now you're more comfortable to work with that.
Yeah.
Because look around you, all what you see, all what you have. If we go back in time, it was not exist. Somebody has to think about that and build it. So now, when you can imagine something that you already have, let's make some exercise. What is that you want to see in your life? What is that you want to have in your life? Let's say I want to have another car.
Yeah.
Imagine that your driveway with 3 cars, your car, your wife car, and another car. Now we go more in detail. What kind of car is that?
Yeah.
Is it SUV, a sedan, it's a truck? Now you break it into more in pieces.
Yeah.
So now you build that in your imagination. Now, if you put it on paper, yeah, so you said to yourself, I have a car. You use present tense. I have a car, this kind of car, that's kind of year, that's kind of color,
Yeah.
that's sitting in my driveway now. Now, see the magic. When you start to walking around the neighborhood, all of a sudden you see a similar car all over the place. What happened here? You redirect your mind to think about something that you want to have. Now you see it all over the place. That's the first stage. The next stage, you're going to see it in your driveway, which is mean you're going to take the action to build that, to put it in your driveway. You start to allocate resource or money to that car that you want to have in your driveway. It will happen overnight, sometime, very rare, but it takes time, like everything else. But you need to be consistent.
I think consistent is the piece I was just going to point out. A lot of people think, "Oh, I want the car." They go look in the driveway. "Oh, I didn't get it." Okay, well, that didn't work. And then, they go to think about the next thing. Um, if we're not taking the time, having that habit of, pursuing that one thing, I feel like we're never going to get anything because we're chasing everything. Is that a fair comment?
No, I tell you why. You go to restaurant, the waiters came in, she take an order. She leave. Did you call her every second to ask her where is the meal? You know it's coming.
Or worse, to change it. Could you?
You know it's coming. You don't need to. You don't ask every second where is the meal.
Yeah,
Where is the meal? You know
yeah.
it's coming. It's the same thing.
It's interesting. Now, what I see a lot of people though is they'll order the meal and then they'll say, "Well, actually, no, I wanted it with beef. No, no, I want the chicken. No, no, I want the fish."
That's a different story.
That's a very different story, right?
But in a way, it's the same because you know it's coming. If you change the order, you change the order. But you know it's coming. But not in the same moment. You sit and relax. You drink water. You eat the bread with with something. Yeah. You drink
Yeah,
some. You order some drink, something to drink. Yeah. And you
yeah.
talk to the person that you with. But you know it's coming. You don't have any doubt here that you're not going to get it.
I love that. I think that's, again, it's the simplicity of just making that contract. Again, for those who would disagree, I would say that when you're in a restaurant, you order something. There's a contract between you and the restaurant that you are asking for something, and you're accepting that they'll deliver. Um, but again, you have to let them take the time to deliver. I love that. Now, what's another principle? So I think what I'm hearing is that, the principles, I would almost say, uh, actually, I'm going to back up for my listeners, because a lot of what you tell me sounds like, unbending laws of the universe, kind of like gravity. Whether you believe in gravity or not, it exists. How would you define the word principle? And I don't need the textbook definition, but what does the word principle mean to you? Because I know it's a word you use a lot, and I've heard you use it with me a lot. I'm just curious to share that wisdom with our listeners, because I feel like if they're not willing to accept certain principles, no matter what you do or say, they're not going to be able to help themselves. Is that fair?
Yes. And the word principle is something that you can challenge that. You can challenge principle. That's the way it is. Like the law of gravity as the law of principle. Yeah. You can challenge.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Yeah. There is no other way around that or underneath that. That's the way it's works.
It's like gravity. You can disagree with it, you can disbelieve it, but if you fall out of an airplane, it's going to prove itself to you. Is that fair?
You can do it. Hold the pen in your hand. If you leave it, what will happen? It fall down.
Yep.
That's gravity. Yeah, you can. The pen will never go up.
Yep.
That's a principle.
I love it. And I think that's huge. And for my listeners, I literally, when I first chatted, we were talking about principles, and I just love the simplicity of time and activity. Um, I don't know if it needs much more explanation, but I think I'd like to ask, um, when you're working with somebody, um, what's the conversation like around, they do an activity? Is it as simple as, do I enjoy this, or is it more detailed than that?
As I mentioned, I don't give advice and I don't tell people what to do. I don't believe that it's work. Yeah. What I build right from the get go is trust. You can trust me that I'm not going to violate your feeling because this is the area that many people fall short. They don't want to be bullied. So they're not going to share with you what they have, the wishes or the dream that they have in their head. Because they say, I don't know this guy. Maybe tomorrow he's going to come and talk the whole neighborhood about me, the way I'm thinking, and that's embarrass me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody going to bully me now. And I don't want to have that. So I'm not going to share with you, and I'm not going to tell anybody in the world, yeah, what is my dream is. So I build trust right from the beginning. That's the last thing. That will never happen. So I give you example from other area, which is I have a radio interview many years ago, and the guy said to me, "Well, you as a coach," it was the end of the interview. He said, "You as a coach, what kind of advice you give to people that they can hold, they can take and use right away?" I said to him, I don't give advice. He said, "Well, you need to give them something." So here is what I give for everyone. Find people that want to help and support you in any way you want to do, not to tell you what to do or how to do it. People that can help and support, they know it's your. I come to help and support. What you ask me to do, I will do. Yeah. And you want to build a house, I come and help. I give you hammer. I give you every support that you need from me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how to do it or where to do it. That's what you want. Every person needs that. People that help and support him, not tell him what to do or how to do it. And this is hard to find. It's not easy because people like to give opinion about everything. I don't want your opinion. Your opinion usually is talk to me out. And
Yeah.
let's face it, you're not qualified to give opinion because you don't have experience. So what kind of opinion you give me?
Yeah. No,
So I
that's
just don't want to hear that. If you come to help and support, great, come.
yeah.
If you come to give me your opinion, say it and leave.
Leave it in a pile by the door. I think that's fabulous. Um, I think now you and I, before I started recording, we were talking about awareness. What does awareness mean to you, and how does it impact you personally? And I guess more importantly, the people that you work with.
Awareness is, I learned that very late in my life, but we live in two places. We live inside and we live outside, which is mean we react and respond what's going on outside of us. Yeah, basically is the information that we get. Yeah,
Yep.
and this information that dictate how we're going to feel about that. Now
Yeah.
you can change what's going outside of you most of the time. No. What you can change the way you feel about that. So what happened outside, it's happened outside. It have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you develop your feeling how you want to feel about that from different angle, which is mean how that support you, how that help you to do better in life. Because if we spend time about something that not help us, not support us, we're just wasting time because we can do nothing about that.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that, now you start to have control on your life. Now you engage in activity that help and support you, not activity that give you opinion to think about, because you're going to develop opinion about that, and that's the feeling, that's the respond and reaction that you're going to have.
I think that's again very simple, and I say that as a aha moment. I think a lot of people overcomplicate how they view things.
You can blame people, and remember, when we grow up, and I see the lot, many people are experts on what not to do. Think about it. When we
Yep.
were kids, Everything that we know, it's through experience. If
Yeah.
we do it, we know how does that work. If we didn't do it, somebody else tell us what will happen.
Yeah.
Now they want to protect us. They say you too young, you have no experience, you have no idea, you don't know what this life is. So let me tell you, you need to stay away from that because this is danger.
Yeah.
It's too heavy, it's too big, you don't have any experience, you're too young for that. Yeah, this is not for you, this is for grown up. So what you learn is to stay away from that. Now you grow up, it's a habit. Everybody tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
So we learn what to stay away from. And later on in life, we are expert on that. We know everything what to stay away from because that's a habit that's came along with us all along. Now, when we want to do something, now we in a jam.
Yeah.
How to do it? Nobody told me how to do things. Everybody told me what not to do. Everybody tell me what to stay away from. So I kind of divide people in two: people that stay away and people that go in toward. Now, the people that go in toward is very small amount.
Yeah.
That people that stay away is the majority of the people.
Well, and I think even when it comes to dreams, people will say to you, "Oh, you should dream smaller. We need to protect you from what if it doesn't work." My personal approach is, "What if it does work?" So I'm more naturally, I try to be toward. I find it interesting, and I love what I'm hearing because I hear that that's a choice. I think a lot of people can make that choice. Is that fair?
There is that phrase that say, "Be careful what you wish for, you might get it." Here is that this is energy
Yeah.
that exists. Now, which way you take this energy? You take it to area that you need to be careful, or you take it to the area that's gonna give you something that you didn't have before.
Yeah.
It's the same energy in which way you take it. It's a choice that you make. If you choose to be afraid from that, that's what you choose.
Yeah.
If you choose to do something with that, that's what you're gonna get. That's energy. That's what it is.
And it's interesting because the exact same energy can be a creative force, which, we go toward, as you said, or it could be destructive and it could be away from what we want. I find that fascinating.
And here is the thing: you will never fail. You'll never get mistake, and nothing will go wrong. You will do something that doesn't work, which is mean doesn't work 100%,
Yeah.
but it worked to some percentage. It worked 5%. It worked 10%. You didn't fail. You got result. And here is another way I explain that. Let's say that you're at home and you're hungry. You're dead hungry. You want to make something to eat. What the simple thing to do? Scramble egg. You take the skillet, you break the egg, you scramble two pieces of bread in a toaster, you have a meal. You have a hot sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that scrambled egg going to come the same way that you serve in a diner? No, but you have a scrambled egg.
Yeah.
Now, you want it like the diner. Do it every day for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you're going to invite all your friends. Come, I make you scrambled egg. You won't believe I do it better than the diner. What happened? You got experience.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Now you know how to do it. And that's everything in life fall in this category. You do
It's
something that you have no clue, you get results, you see how is that work. Now you know how to do it.
I love this, and I'm going to share one of my favorite lessons, and it's really feeling really relevant today. One of the coaches I follow, and I suspect this was probably from Tony Robbins. He says, if you're teaching an infant how to walk, how many times would you let that infant try before you say, "Oh, you're bad at this, give up?" And yet, that's what we as adults do to ourselves and to our friends and colleagues. We say, "Oh, I'm not good at this, therefore I'm going to give up."
Maybe they don't have this the other way around. We encourage baby to do that,
Yeah.
but we discourage grown up to do it.
Yeah. Well, and what's the statistic? We hear how many thousand no's before we're 10 and how many singular yeses. Like it's very disproportionate. Um, I find that fascinating, and that's one of the
That,
things.
that's for two different category, which is mean it's more communication, because if we not communicate, if you don't hear what I see, we're not communicating,
Yeah.
and that's what happen all the time. Which is mean the first thing that we need to learn is how you receive communication, what way you learning, and there is four area that people learning. Most of the people are visual learner. When I see it, I believe that, or I need to see it to understand that.
Yeah.
About 25% are auditory. Don't show me. Let me read about it or tell me. Now there is another 25% that divide in two, which is mean part of that is feeling that use feeling. I need to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to smell it. I need to touch it. The rest of that is people that asking question. They are what we call detail oriented. So when we do a lot of assumption here, and that's the part that's not supporting us, because when you do assumption, 70% of the time you got it wrong. Why? Because you apply to only to one area, that the way you learning, you apply to those areas. So you have the other three that you're missing out.
Yeah.
They make assumption in a different way. So the first thing that we need to learn is how to other person communicate. And to do that, I develop some program. I develop some way of thinking in a different way, which is we speak in metaphor. We use about 6 metaphor every minute. Now, the metaphor is something that you describe, that you want to describe situation or something. So I'm going to ask you, it's like what? You need to come with story.
Yeah.
The story that you bring, it's a metaphor. Now, how I need to break the metaphor? I need to see it, I need to hear it, I need to feel it, or I need to ask question. So when I break the metaphor, now I know what way you communicate. Now I can talk in your way. I can talk in the way that we understand each other. You're gonna hear more yes than no.
I love that. And I think that's, I see that a lot in um, larger organizations. You'll have a leader with one style, and they assume that other people will communicate in the same way. And then they express frustration. I actually worked with one organization. The leader was very, very detail oriented and couldn't figure out why nobody would listen, nobody would pay attention. And it was just an aha moment that you're communicating from this place of detail. And by the way, her favorite management phrase was, "Why aren't you writing this down?" A lot of people came back with, "We don't know what the context is. We don't know what we should write down because we're so into the detail, we haven't seen the picture." And it's fascinating because I think if you're listening to, first of all, yourself, you can understand how you communicate. I take it to the next level, which I assume you do as well, is focus on communicating with the people around you so that there's common ground rather than, well, I'm diehard visual, you're diehard detail. We're never going to agree. Well, sometimes we agree that maybe we communicate one way, sometimes we communicate the other. But at the end of the day, communication only takes place when you've communicated a message and I've received a message.
To have the upper hand, it's on me to find out how you communicate and talk to your language.
Yeah.
I don't try to bring you to my language because I need to explain everything. Yeah, and to explain everything, I need to know how you communicate. So I already talk to your language.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn that, I will invest the time in you, and I will educate you. If it's not important to you, I don't want to waste your time because it's not important to you.
Yeah. I love that. Now, Haim, I could talk to you all day, and I know you and I have had another conversation that did go a little bit longer. I do want to respect your time and that of my listeners. You are the expert at you. So, is there a question I should have asked you that I haven't that you'd like to answer on behalf of my listeners?
I don't know what to do. You ask me everything.
We've talked about a lot of things. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it to my listeners because I know for a fact you're going to be back as a guest on the show. Communication, to me, if we're not solving communication, um, there's really no other problem in life or in business more important than communication. How can people get in touch with you if they want to get to know you or learn more about you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I have a phone number. I have a website. I guess that is going to be on the show notes. Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm available. I will answer everyone. If not the same day, yeah, the next day. But I will answer everyone. And before I go to work with someone, we have some conversation. We talking, and then I decide if it's benefit for both of us or not. Because for me, I'm not working for money. It's not. I will take the money. Don't get me wrong, but this is not what's important to me. If you don't get what you're looking for, there is no good ground for us to work. Because I don't want to take your money for nothing.
I love it. And I will also, so in the show notes, I'll include your LinkedIn profile. I see you also have some YouTube videos. So
Yes.
I just want to, say I know that you could have chosen to spend your time elsewhere. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you spending time with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.